Wagwan everyone, settle in and get comfortable because we're about to drop anchor and journey back in time to the heart of Jamaica. The unbreakable spirit of the Maroons. We're not talking about the sun-drenched beaches and all-inclusive resorts of today. No, we're talking about a time of raw power, of chaos and creation, back in 1655. Imagine the scene. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth and tropical blossoms. The island is a wild, untamed canvas of towering mountains and dense, impenetrable rainforests. This is a land of giants, a silent witness to history in the making. The Spanish, who had ruled this island for over a century, are now being given out. The British, with their powerful navy and endless ambition, have just seized control. But in this moment of political upheaval, a different kind of revolution is brewing. As the smoke from the conflict clears, something extraordinary happens. Enslaved Africans, brought to the island to work the Spanish plantations, see their chance. They don't wait for a new master to put their chains back on. Instead, they make a break for it, vanishing into the rugged, forested heart of Jamaica. They're not just running away. They're running toward a new life, a new beginning, in a land that will become their fortress. These escapees, they become the stuff of legends, the Jamaican Maroons. The name itself, Maroons, comes from the Spanish word cimarron, which means untamed or wild, and wild they were. No, these weren't just people running away. They were architects of their own freedom. They were strategists, survivors, and warriors. They knew the value of freedom and they were willing to fight for it with every fiber of their being. Their greatest ally wasn't a sword or a shield, but the land itself. The Maroons found their haven in some of the most brutal and beautiful terrain imaginable. The Cockpit country, with its maze of steep, funnel-shaped limestone hills and deep hidden valleys, became their stronghold. It was a natural fortress, a living labyrinth of rock and vegetation, nearly impossible for outsiders to navigate. Imagine trying to chase someone through a place where every step could be your last, where the ground itself is a trap. The Maroons used every inch of it to their advantage, creating a sanctuary that was invisible to the outside world. Life up there was no picnic. It was a constant struggle for survival against the forces of nature and the threat of re-enslavement. But the Maroons, they were ingenious. They transformed the wilderness into a home. They became master farmers, cultivating hidden fields of yams, plantains, and other crops on the fertile ground in the bottom of the cockpits. They hunted wild game, trapping wild boars and birds, and used their knowledge of the land to forage for medicinal plants and herbs. They didn't just survive, they thrived, building vibrant communities that blended traditions from different African cultures. From the Ashanti of modern-day Ghana to the Yoruba of Nigeria, they took rituals, language, and social structures and wove them into something new, something uniquely Maroon. Their societies were strong, organized, and fiercely independent, ruled by their own chiefs and laws. They developed a unique form of communication, a horn language called abeng, which allowed them to signal across vast distances in the rugged terrain, alerting each other to British patrols or celebrating a successful harvest. And let me tell you, they had to fight. The British weren't about to let this audacious act of rebellion go unpunished. The First Maroon War, which began in the 20s, wasn't some small scuffle. It was a bloody decades-long conflict that pushed the British to their limits. The Maroons weren't fighting on a European battlefield with neat lines and disciplined ranks. This was a war of ambushes and guerrilla tactics. The Maroons knew those mountains, those forests better than anyone. They'd appear out of nowhere, strike like lightning with their machetes and repurposed guns, and vanish back into the green. The British, with their heavy red coats and big armies, were lost. They were bogged down in the dense foliage, their tactics useless against an enemy that moved like a ghost. For years, the Maroons bled the British dry, both in manpower and resources. It was a war they couldn't win, a testament to the power of a people fighting on their own terms in their own land. Think about figures like Queen Nanny. She wasn't just a leader, she was a legend, a military genius and a spiritual leader. She's said to have possessed incredible power. Legend says she could catch bullets with her bare hands, absorb cannonballs, and command the spirits of the ancestors. Whether those tales are true or not, they show you the kind of power she had over her people and the fear she struck in the hearts of her enemies. She was a symbol of resistance, an icon for a people fighting not just for land, but for their very souls. Under her leadership and that of other brilliant leaders like Captain Kodjo, the Maroons became an unstoppable force. Finally, in 1739, the unthinkable happened. The British, exhausted, defeated, and facing mounting losses, signed a treaty. The terms were staggering. They recognized the Maroons as free people, give them land that could never be taken away, and a level of self-governance that was revolutionary in a world built on slavery. It wasn't perfect. The treaty came with concessions, including the agreement that the Maroons would help the British suppress future rebellions. But for the Maroons, it was a victory hard won, a monument to their resilience that echoes through Jamaican history. The Maroons, they're not just a story from the distant past. Their legacy is a living, breathing part of Jamaica today. Communities like Kompass still exist in the mountains, keeping those old traditions alive. When you hear the pounding of the drums during a festival, or the stories passed down through generations, or the spiritual hymns that call back to Africa, that's the spirit of the Maroons. It's a spirit of defiance, of fierce resilience, and of an unbreakable bond with the land and with their heritage. Their story, it's a wild one, isn't it? It's a powerful testament to survival against all odds. A story of how a people facing impossible circumstances forged their own destiny in the heart of the mountains. And it's a story that is still being told, still being felt in the soul of Jamaica today. What you guys think? Incredible, right? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the Maroons, stick around because we're just getting started.